Well, Arsenal is back in the Champions League. Second successful season in a row. Remember, Arsenal had gone ahead, obviously, play into the last play in the Champions League. I think it was 6-7 years back when they returned the previous season. And when they returned, they are knocked out from the quarterfinals, which wasn't bad for me because Arsenal being knocked out by Bayern Munich, two games where a game, I think there was it was a game of fine margins because if Arsenal had defended better, they would have found themselves beating Bayern Munich by 2-0 at home, and they would have gone ahead, obviously, knock out Bayern Munich. But I think all of that is done and dusted with more experience added to the side of Arsenal and people that are really winners. I really understand that Arsenal is really going to be looking as a better team. The addition of Mikel Merino, who has experience, he has been playing the Champions League for Real Sociedad. He's a winner. That is really great. And Raheem Sterling is also another player that knows how to do things. And Ricardo Carafiori coming in through to play into the mix as a player into the side of Arsenal is also very, very, very important. Remember, I think both of the goals were because of miscommunication in the first leg, and they all came through from the left side of the defense of Arsenal. And even away from home, you saw to it that the left side and the right side felt obviously balanced very well, and it was all about them being naive into this game and structure. That's why they've gonna have to look out for people who are really very, very experienced into the making. So this is what we are really having in here onto the Rokani Media Football. And remember, we are powered by Mono Gadgets. Mono Gadgets are dealers in brand new phones and brand new laptops from the UK, and they also deal in used phones and used laptops. And if at all you really want to see the best from them, call them on +256 70 99 88 665, and you'll thank me later into the making. And Arsenal is going to be playing in what we call the Giuseppe Stadium in Italy that capacitates 25,000 people into that stadium. That is really going to be a very huge boost into that, and Arsenal is really going to be going to this game of football. And we all know to it that as Arsenal gets into this game of football, they are the favorites. That is it. They are the favorites because Atlanta, having on hit obviously play into the UEFA Europa League and they won it. If at all you saw the Super Cup, they tried to obviously cause some trouble to the side of Real Madrid, though that game of football really went ahead to end, I think, by 2-0. I think Kylian Mbappe found himself on target, and then Vinicius Jr. found also himself on target. So they had chances, and Lookman failed to obviously kill off close to 3 times, and Arsenal should really look at Lookman because he's really a very deadly player. But remember, as things unfold, Arsenal are really having Declan Rice back. Bukayo Saka has been seen in training today, and they're really back, meaning that Arsenal is really going to be a strong team into the making. And when you look at the other players that are anticipated to be out, I'm shocked that Zinchenko is really having an ankle injury. I'm just waiting to really check onto the traveling squad to the side of Atlanta. Then Tomiyasu is not yet back. Kientien is not yet back. Odegaard not yet back. Mikel Merino not yet back. Those are the injuries that Arsenal are really having, but the rest of the players are readily available, and they've gone here to travel with the club of Arsenal to Atlanta. Then when we go to the side of Atalanta, obviously they are really having Gianluca Scamacca out, and Giovanni Scavellini. All those are out, and those are long-term injuries. And the defensive duo, Rafael Toloi, is having a masseter injury, and Ben Godfrey is back, but he missed the win over Fiorentina that they played over the weekend. And also Sid Kolasinac, who was at Arsenal and played 80 Premier League games for Arsenal, is also back into the making. And also Beret Dimistu is also back, and Nicolo Zaniolo is also back. Even Matteo Retegui is also back. So they're really having close to 4 or 5 players back, and that really makes them a very threatening side when it comes to the side of Arsenal. But Arsenal has all what it takes to obviously win this game of football, and they're going to be playing tomorrow on Thursday, and this is why we're here to obviously bring you the probable starting 11 and what we think about this game of football. But Arsenal is really a very good side, and Arsenal over the weekend went ahead to beat a team called Tottenham Hotspur by 1-0. And if at all you are Arsenal, after winning that North London derby, you wouldn't like to find yourself, losing to a team like this. You understand? All what you want to see is your team winning and really continuing to win. And remember, over the weekend, they went ahead to obviously beat Fiorentina by 3-2. And Matteo Retegui returns, obviously scored one. Then Charles de Catalet scored the second. And Ademola Lookman went ahead to obviously score the winner. And that game ended by 3-2. And it looks like they came from behind as Fiorentina led them twice. So it shows you how huge Atalanta is. They are good and they are playing from home, and Arsenal shouldn't take them for granted. And let's get into the probable starting 11 for the side of Arsenal versus Atalanta. And we all know to it that Mikel Arteta is the manager who believes in a system of 4-3-3. That's the system that he really believes in. And at the look of things, let's get onto the stadium. And no doubts about the goalkeeper, it's going to be David Raya in between the stitches for the club of Arsenal. He really made some fantastic saves when Arsenal was really playing against Tottenham Hotspur, and he really looked great and he kept another clean sheet. And he has so far played 4 games into the Premier League, and he has gone ahead to keep a clean sheet against Tottenham Hotspur. He kept a clean sheet against Aston Villa, and he kept a clean sheet against a team known as... And he kept a clean sheet. When they are playing against Wolverhampton Wanderers with their opener, meaning that 4 games, 3 clean sheets kept, and he's really very vital into those clean sheets. And remember that game of Aston Villa where he went ahead to obviously make some worldies. There were textbook saves that he went ahead to make, and he is into the stitches to obviously look for another clean sheet into the Champions League and take his team further up the pitch. On the right, I anticipate that it's going to be Benjamin White, Blanco, obviously, because these are the players that the manager believes are really fast teamers, and every fast teamer at Arsenal obviously want to play in the Champions League because it's the greatest football tournament at the club level that everyone would want to obviously thrive at and obviously make his statement. If I really want to win a Ballon d'Or, these are tournaments where you have to come up and obviously show exactly what you are made of and what really turns you on. So that is Benjamin White for you. On the left, with Carafiori returning, you obviously have to anticipate that maybe Carafiori can come in and really play a part into this game of football because he knows Italy very well, and he faced these players of Atalanta, I think, the previous season when he was playing for the side of Bologna, and everyone will be like, he should be given a chance. But when it comes to Champions League, experience matters a lot. We all know to it that Julian Timber featured lots of times into the team of Erik ten Hag at Ajax and played in the Champions League, and he knows exactly what it means to play in such environments. And I believe Carafiori might come in through off the bench, but it's gonna be Julian Timber to start into this encounter because of how he featured when they're playing against Spurs. He really looked good on the left, and he continues to put in the record shift altogether into the making, and he's really good. And for Carafiori, also returning from injury, there is no way he's really gonna be forced into the team. I think Arteta will be like, let Julian Timber play some minutes and you'll have in some 20 towards the end of the game, and that depends onto the game situation. Central defense, obviously no doubts about it. The manager is looking at putting in Saliba onto the right-sided centre-back, and left-sided centre-back it's gonna be Gabriel Magalhaes. But I'm also having a feeling that it might be Saliba and either Carafiori or Jakub Kiwior, and Gabriel Magalhaes might be rested a little bit by the manager into this encounter because he knows to it that he's having a big game over the weekend, and some changes might really be pivotal because Arsenal doesn't need to obviously field their strongest 11 to beat Atlanta. That is it. So it will depend on the manager and what the plan is. If his plan is let's go into this game, kill it off early, and then sub the players off. Then he's going to field his strongest 11. Now, in the CDM area, when we go to the midfield, I have a belief in me, or I have something resounding in me that it will be either Jorginho or Thomas Partey. You get? Thomas Partey, because obviously he makes that midfield better. And then Jorginho, because they're really having a game over the weekend against Man City. And Jorginho having gone here to play in Italy, he really looks great into that position. He knows exactly how to play into that side. But Thomas Partey sounds out the best name, but the manager might obviously bench him to see it that he's fresh for the game of Man City on Sunday. And remember, they're playing on Thursday, meaning that they're going to be resting. They're going to be resting less than Man City, because Man City is going to be resting Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Arsenal is really going to be resting Friday and Saturday, meaning that the manager will have to do the due diligence and really make a decision. So that's where I believe I might have gone here to put Thomas Partey into that midfield. You never know. A lot can obviously come in through and really go the other side and see Jorginho into that starting 11. But Declan Rice is back, and I think that 1 week without playing football, from the international break, because he was red carded against Brighton, is really going to help him really coming through with fresh energy into that midfield of Arsenal alongside Thomas Partey or Jorginho. He was suspended and is back to obviously start from where he ended and put in the required shift altogether into the mix. Now, on the other side in the midfield, with Martin Odegaard out, I whole believe the manager is really gonna put Trossard there again to play into that midfield. And Trossard never looked good in that midfield, especially when Arsenal is having the ball, because Arsenal surrendered possession to the side of Tottenham Hotspur. And you saw to it that the best chance of the game that Arsenal had, it was created by Trossard. That ball that he really went ahead, obviously hold and really released Martinelli, and Martinelli went ahead, obviously not really bury that ball in the back of the net when he faced the goalkeeper. So I'm just imagining how it's really gonna be when Leandro Trossard is playing into a team that is really not gonna allow to surrender possession to Atlanta. You get? So I believe if you get Trossard onto the ball a lot, he's really going to act as a perfect number 10 for the club of Arsenal. So we're here waiting to see how things are really going to be panning out into this beautiful game of football altogether. So for me, Trossard Leandro is expected to start in the midfield 3, and a lot is really going to be happening there. Now, the front 3, obviously, Saka is really back, and I expect him to be played onto the right forward of Arsenal. Remember, the man had 9 goal involvements last season. I think 5 assists and 4 goals last Champions League. And this season, with number of games increasing and Arsenal really having experience, Saka played his first Champions League game, I think. His first Champions League season. It was very successful for them. And this time around, they'll be aiming to obviously go for the trophy, because they have all what it takes to compete. And now, Saka is going to be played as a right forward, and I anticipated that it's going to be a problem to the likes of Kolasinac, who are really anticipated to start onto the left back into the mix. And on the left, I anticipate it's going to be Gabriel Martinelli. Others are saying Sterling, and it might be Sterling. It might be Sterling also, but I believe Martinelli will start, because Arteta wants him to obviously get that confidence. And Martinelli just needs to get like a goal today or put in an assist to obviously raise his confidence, like you saw Erik ten Hag do to Marcus Rashford. He kept him on the pitch, not until he has gone ahead to score 3 goals in 2 consecutive games. Yesterday, as United disciplined Barnsley by 7-0, Rashford had 2 shots. So had 2 shots at goal across the line and 1 assist. Remember, on Saturday he scored against Southampton and he scored a beauty. And this will be the mission for the manager of Arsenal. All else, if he thinks Sterling should start and rest Martinelli for the game of Man City, then he will obviously start Sterling and obviously get Martinelli off the bench to come in through and do the due diligence for the side of Arsenal. So it's either Sterling or Martinelli, but I believe Martinelli will obviously start. And I know he might get his full debut for Arsenal. That is Sterling next week when they are playing Bolton into what we call the Carabao Cup. Now, leading the line, Jesus is physically fit. Kai Havertz is physically fit, and I believe it's really going to be none other than Kai Havertz to come in through and really put in the required shift altogether. I mean, look at Kai Havertz last season. We look at Kai Havertz last season in the Champions League. He came up and obviously put in a very good performance for the club of Arsenal. I really loved what he really put up because he played 10 games and scored 1 goal, and that is Kai Havertz for you. But I think this time round, playing at the focal point or the apex of the attack of Arsenal from the word go, he's really going to find himself in a position of obviously scoring very many goals. So that is my probable starting 11. I don't know what your thoughts are about it, but I believe it can come in through and really do a very beautiful job for the side of Arsenal. Now, when you look at Atlanta, Arsenal should really look at Lookman. He's a deadly guy. There is Ederson who plays in the midfield. For him, I'm really gonna be up there, really watching him to the fullest, because I believe he's really one of those that deserves a very good hail as a player, because Ederson is really one of those midfielders the entire world is really looking at. And don't be shocked that next summer he's really gonna be the hottest asset onto what we call onto the market. So just keep yourselves into the know onto how this is really going to be happening. But Kolasinac is back, and Dimisti is also going to be playing in the back three. They play a system of 3-4-5, and we all anticipate that all is really going to come up and really face into the best way possible into the mix. So as it stands, nothing is really going to really stop these people from obviously doing the due diligence and obviously taking on this side. But Atalanta is not an easy fish to fry. I tell you, Arsenal will obviously find themselves in this game of football, but Atalanta is not an easy fish to fry. Now, let's go into the head-to-head stats before I give you my prediction. Now, Atalanta have never previously faced Arsenal in any competition. The Gunners will be the 5th English side. They have met in major Europe competition after Everton, where 2 wins, Man City 1 draw and 1 loss, Liverpool 2 wins and 2 losses, and Man United all were draws in 1-1. You remember that season when we played Atalanta in the Champions League. Sorry, when Man United played Atalanta in the Champions League. So that is really great. And it's really very important to obviously note and really give it the best of attention that it really deserves. Now, thank you for obviously watching in through, and let's go to the second head-to-head stat that will obviously leave everyone shocked into the mix about what it will be really talking about. What is the second head-to-head stat? Arsenal have lost their last 3 away UEFA Champions League games in Italy. Very shocking, as I told you. Although this is their first trip since 2013, those defeats came at Roma in 2009, 1-0, Milan 4-0 in 2012, and Napoli 2-0 in 2013. So, Arsenal's recent visits in Italy haven't gone ahead, obviously, pay off dividends to the side of Arsenal, and they've been causing loads of drama into the mix, and Arsenal haven't gone ahead obviously get even a draw. They've been beaten, but this time around they go that side when they're a much more stronger team into the mix and making. Then thirdly, Atlanta's last 4 UEFA Champions League games, all in the 2021-2022 group stages, have been both them and their opponents scored 2 or more goals, and they had 2 draws and 2 losses. In the entire history of European Cup, no side has ever both scored and conceded 2+ goals in 5 consecutive matches. So that is it. And lastly, Arsenal have won their opening match in each of their last 6 major European campaigns, 5 in the UEFA Europa League and last season's Champions League. The last side to beat the Gunners in the first game was Dynamo Zagreb in 2015-2016 Champions League. So, you never know what is really going to happen. A lot can happen, and we wait to see how everything is really going to be going on that side. Then, the 2023-2024 UEFA Champions League final, 2023-2024 UEFA Europa League final, won 3-0 by this side, that is Atalanta, was Gianni Pieri's Esperian 50th game in charge of Atalanta in major European competition. Excluding qualifiers, Gasperini has won just under half of those, 48%, with 24 victories from 50 matches. So, 14 draws, 12 losses, and he has won 24 of those, meaning that he's not doing bad as a manager. So all those stats really show you that it's not going to be an easy game for anyone who's going to be taking part into this encounter. And I go in for a 3-1 win for the club of Arsenal. That is it. I go in for a 3-1 win for the club of Arsenal. That's my prediction, and I call in for your predictions into the comment section below about what you think about this beautiful game of football. So we wait and see how things pan out. Arteta is going to be holding a press conference down in Italy, and I'm going to be really broadcasting that. I'm going to stream live. You know, when he's done, I'm going to come up and really tell you what Arteta had to say about his players in as far as this encounter was really concerned. Remember, we are powered by Mono Gadgets, dealers in brand new phones and brand new laptops, and they are doing a very good job. And even if you want to use phones and use laptops, call them on +256 70 99 88 665. Into the making and into the mix. Rokani David is my name. We sign out for now. See you later, and let's see close to 100 likes much on this video as we did on that video of Mikel Merino into the mix. Guys, we out. See you later in the next 2 hours from now as we talk more stories that the manager has gonna hate to break. Bye bye.